So as you know, we're moving in up here, Washington State, up here in Kitsap County. And what I need in my reloading section here in the garage is a place to store all my cast bullets. And what you see is just some of my stash of cast bullets that are in jugs. And I also have jacketed bullets, of course, that have to be stored. So you see, we're just moving in, and in the garage we have 4 of these heavy-duty storage racks that you commonly see at Home Depot. And what they are is a heavy metal screen for the shelving. And this works very well, of course, for storing most things. But for doing cast bullets that are smaller containers and heavy, these kind of racks leave a lot to be desired. Well, the garage already had these Husky units in place, and they're fine for tools, but they're not good for storing for a reloading room. I don't think that by the time I put cast bullets in that cabinet's probably going to fall off the wall. So you see, there's the corner, and what I've constructed is a large bullet rack that's anchored to the wall, made out of 2x12 lumber from Home Depot. So this is Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from the Hot Lead Zone Express up here in Kitsap County, Washington State. And this bullet rack is going to be nice because I'll be able to put cast bullets from like here on down, and we're going to have like shotgun slugs on the bottom, and then our heavier big bore cast bullets. And give you an idea, so you can actually climb on this thing. So put all the weight on it. This will support the cast bullets easily. Next step is to take my Tack Life orbital sander. Now I know sanding, we better to use a belt sander or something like that, but I don't have a belt sander. So we'll just do it the old-fashioned way and use an orbital sander and sand this wood. And then clean it all up, and then we'll stain it right here on the spot. You know how these things work. I'll just go ahead and start sanding. It's gonna be a mess, dusty. So we're gonna be ready to jump in the shower after. Well, okay, we just got done sanding for about an hour and a half, and used a bunch of P40 and P60 sanding grit. Wore these out, but the criteria is that we cannot snag sweaters, and it's smooth enough to be no splinters and no snagging. Not furniture grade finish on sanding, but that's okay because we're rough and tough cast bullets and jacketed bullets, don't you know? So all of these are radiused, and there's no roughness that'll snag or give you a splinter. So we're ready to go ahead now and stain. So multiple drill drivers and impact drivers were used, so I wouldn't have to keep switching out all the various bits. And when you're up on a step stool and working, these drill drivers and power tools take a beating because you're not taking your time to pick up each one. You gotta watch out for accidents, like accidentally moving your hand into a drill bit. Now, to facilitate the installation of each one of these 3.5 inch long, 5/16 inch wide lag bolts to support the shelving, we use a whole bevy, a veritable stable of drill drivers and impact drivers. So here's my thinking behind the assembly of this shelving, and that is Each shelf, which is a 2x12 lumber, is supported by 2 of these lag screws on each end. Climb on these shelves to use the bullet rack as a ladder and supports my weight without any problem. So our stable of drill drivers and impact drivers are a bag, a mixed bag. And some would say, hey, you got all those battery systems. Well, I like the versatility of having the different battery systems. And look at these drill drivers. We treated them pretty roughly because when you're doing a job, you're more or less going to slam one down and pick up the next one. But look at this. Like the grip angle on these, don't you? Kind of like a 1911. It's got a nice beaver tail here. The sights, though, are very rudimentary. And by the way, we're in the lithium-ion age. And you know, the lithium-ion batteries are so superior that this whole job was done and these batteries are still full. So there's my solution. It took 2 days to build, and the wood was purchased from Home Depot. They are 2x12 foot lengths of their premium lumber. And as such, they have some nice smooth sides and rough sides to them. So one thing I need to mention is when I bought the lumber at Home Depot, I made a good selection because when you go there in person, you can pick out the straightest boards and the boards with the fewest amount of knot holes and damage and dings, and get the best boards. Hand selected. Then what you do is you go over to the staff that's there in the lumber section, and you go ahead and ask them to cut the boards for you. So they made nice 58-inch cuts for me. So 8 boards 58 inches long, and then the 2 verticals are the standard 8-foot length of 2x12, and I bought the 2 nicest ones for that. So because of that, I don't need to have a table saw. I don't need to have a chop saw. They'll also cross cut and rip cut your plywood for you if you buy plywood. Now, having had experience with shelving and my cast and jacketed bullets in the past, the problem of shelf sag needs to be defeated. So the way to do that is we have these 2x12 supports in the center of every shelf, and all of those are firmly onto the floor. Now, to keep the bullet rack from falling off the wall or falling away from the wall, we got a 2x4 on top here that's anchored into the stud with a 3.5-inch lag bolt.
Do our best to get that lead stream to drop straight down into the mold possible.
I'm watching one of Walter Bunning's casting videos as we're doing this.
More.
So you shooters and reloaders out there, you can design your own bullet rack to suit your needs. Doesn't have to be exactly this design, but the principles are there. So take care, bullet rack ahoy. Bye for now.